Right. Okay. So today I have special guest. I can't even talk. Special guest Brett. There are impromptu episode today of Astrology Investigations. And we're going to talk about Aleister Crowley, who is one of the fathers of Black magic. And if you check out Brett's channel, it's just Brett Bender, type it in on YouTube and I'll hyperlink it later here. Brett has so many episodes about these elites that dabble in Black magic and other forms of just weird occult stuff. So Brett, tell us more about Aleister Crowley and why this subject just fascinates you so much.
Yeah, Sarah. I mean, Aleister Crowley, I think, would fascinate anyone who looks into him. He's known as the most wickedest man alive. He was born in 1875 to a very rich dad who owned a distillery. However, he wouldn't really drink himself and taught Crowley moderation, to which Crowley completely rebelled and became like the ultimate hedonist. Yeah, he's known for like just being like clever and charming and kind of ruining the lives of all the women he would date, all the people who came into contact with him. For example, he wrote in his biography, he had sex with his mother's maid, ruined her career, so she had to become a prostitute, and she became Jack the Ripper's first victim.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, to which Crowley claimed to be friends with Jack the Ripper, and they did black magic together.
Okay. Did he ever kill anybody with Jack the Ripper? Was he aware?
No, Crowley has never said that he's killed people, but there's been rumors that he's engaged in sacrifice. He's definitely killed animals. He's killed animals for sacrifice. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not a fan. I mean,
but however, in his defense, at the end of his life, he had a son, and he said that he kind of like took back his wicked ways a little bit, and he saw the folly in his ways.
The folly in his ways. All right. Okay. He was born in 1875, so I guess you can use.
Yeah, and and he was actually alive during a time when he was gay or bisexual, I mean, himself. Yeah. And he was very outspoken about it in a time where they'd be sent to like a labor camp. Like that's what happened to Oscar Wilde during.
I was just going to say that's what happened to Oscar Wilde. Yeah. And he didn't like he was like depraved or into black magic or anything. All he just simply like men. He was a creative.
Exactly. Writer. And actually, now you think about it, he got more in trouble than Crowley did. And he wasn't as bad as him.
He did. I think he died really young from complications from being in a labor camp.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. And Crowley was known to go into the pyramids of Egypt and try to talk to Horus. And he was, according to him, successful through his guardian angel Ayahuasca, acted as a liaison.
Like ayahuasca? Like ayahuasca?
No, Ayahuasca is the name of Crowley, according to him, his guardian angel. And he spoke to Horus, the Egyptian god, then talked to Crowley. And this is all outlined in Crowley's book, The Book of the Law. It's a channeled material.
All right. Have you read some of these books?
I read a little bit of The Book of the Law, and I'm not going to lie, it's sort of like nonsense. Like it's really difficult to read. You have to like kind of understand the background of some of the words he uses. Crowley himself was confused by this channeled material, and he kind of tossed it aside for a couple of years. He doesn't even like it himself, but it is interesting. And this is where we get the phrase "do as thou wilt," which you've probably heard of before.
Yeah.
And this is like influenced like modern day music. Ozzy Osbourne has referenced Crowley. John Lennon was a big fan of his. On the Led Zeppelin 3 album, it says "do as thou wilt."
Okay. So when did he pass?
He passed in 1947.
Okay. So he passed like right around the time World War II was finishing up. So he partied with celebrities of that time.
Yeah. He was a member of the Golden Dawn, which was like a spiritual organization of like aspiring wizards, and they were like rich aristocrats. It had famous members like William Yeats, the famous poet. It had the author of Dracula was a member as well.
Bram Stoker. Okay. Yeah.
And Crowley was just really good at like entering organizations and becoming popular, but then inevitably just burning bridges with everybody. Okay. So it's like he had this charm about him, but it was never long lasting.
Yeah. So it's just like he burned out really quickly.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's this fixed star, I think it's called Polyq, that I was reading about last night. I'll have to see if I can pull it on his chart, because this specific fixed star is all about like burning up really quickly, like burning up marriages, burning up friendships, burning up fame. I'll have to see if I can pull that back up, because the author gave a specific example that Polyq, I'm probably butchering the pronunciation, that this fixed star was on Elizabeth Taylor's Venus on her MC. So everyone knows that Elizabeth Taylor had like 8 or 9 marriages, right? And it's on her MC, like she was famous for having all these marriages that never worked out. I think when she passed away, she was not married, if I'm not mistaken. So I do wonder if this is in his 11th house, because 11th house is friendship. So I'll have to take a look in a minute when we pull up his chart. I'll see if I can
check it out. He had a very sexual nature with a lot of his friends. I told you he's basically like the father of sex magic.
Yeah.
And I don't know how dirty we can get on the show. I don't even know if I want to talk about it.
Right.
But, so let's just dive into the chart and see if we'll maybe bring it up later.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like you said that, he was bisexual. So didn't he say something about like his wife just like going crazy?
Oh, his wife went insane. Rose Kelly was his first wife.
Yeah.
And that's a woman he met when she was actually already about to enter an arranged marriage.
Oh my
and
gosh.
The first day they met, he was able to convince her to call off the wedding and run away with him to Egypt.
Egypt?
Yep. I don't know if that was the same day. Eventually they got to the Egypt vacation. Rose Kelly was the one with him, though, when he channeled Ayahuasca, who was talking to Horus, apparently.
Oh my gosh. But she went crazy.
She did go crazy eventually and became an alcoholic. And they had a daughter together named Lilith. And then the daughter passed away really young. Yeah.
Lilith.
Of course, Lilith.
That's very sad that she died, but she probably went crazy because her husband was sleeping with everybody. I mean,
yeah.
She couldn't trust him with anybody.
Yeah, he would do sex magic with his male friends. In one instance, they used it to conjure the god Pan together in the mountains. And according to them, it was successful and horrifying.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Horrifying. My gosh, like my phone just jumped when you said that. That was crazy. Like it literally jumped in the air.
Jumped in the air. You're kidding.
I'm not even kidding. It was like in my drawer, but it jumped in the air. Okay, for some reason, it says like I pulled too many stars and it won't let me see where Polyu is on his chart. So I'm gonna have to go. I'm just like so curious. So Pan, well, let's keep talking about this. Like, isn't Pan like
Pan is the god of lust, is the half satyr. They're called satyrs. They're really horny goat people.
Right.
And it's funny because the guy that he did the ritual with looked like Pan, and he shaved his head to make him look like weird looking.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And there's another story where the two of them made some sort of circle and they summoned a demon. And according to him, the demon manifested somewhat and they wrestled this thing physically to the ground. They were able to hear voices. This is just weird stuff you can read about.
Oh my gosh. This is why his wife went crazy. All right. So my theory is debunked about that fixed star because it's in his 12th house. It's not in his 11th house. So, nothing about his friendships being short-lived. So that's interesting. Okay.
Saturn's in the 7th house.
Well, yeah, Saturn in the 7th house, that will take care of his relationships. All right, so let's go ahead here and I'll present the screen and I'll show you what I'm looking at here. His astrology is, it's an interesting chart to say the least. It's not like his chart's not interesting because that fixed star is not in his 11th, but.
Yeah, he's had a lot of lovers and it's been difficult for him to find love. Not that he was really looking, and I think it shows in this chart.
No, I don't think he's really looking. He didn't have the moon in his 7th house and Venus there. And no, I'm not seeing anything like that at all. Okay, so the first thing that just drew my attention was his Lilith and Scorpio. Really.
Mm-hmm.
Lilith is in Scorpio and it's opposing his natal Pluto in his 10th house. So obviously, that opposition in there means there's some tension between work life, home life. And, we know that he had an extremely sexual life. Sounds like most of his rituals were based on sex magic from what you're saying and from what I've heard about him. And that can definitely bring tension to your reputation. 10th house. Pluto just intensifies it there. Pluto in his 10th house. He was in Taurus. He knew how to make money very easily. He was a natural money maker. This guy just knew how
He was rich. He would hire a new prostitute every single day He bought houses everywhere. He had a nice place called the Thelema Abbey in Sicily. That's where he had his cult compound.
Okay, a Sicilian cult.
Yeah.
So it's not the mafia, it's just it's a cult.
And
Sicily.
sex cult. Yep.
Okay. This guy, he's a globetrotter. I see.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
that makes sense with his ninth house there, the North Node and Aries in the ninth house. So, he was definitely meant to explore and be in charge of that exploration. Like, I just hear captain, like he was like the captain of the ship.
Yeah, that's for sure. He actually was a big mountaineer, and he led an expedition in the Himalayas, but like half of his crew died during it.
Of course.
But it's because they had a mutiny against Crowley because he was just being really demanding of everyone. And as they like left Crowley, an avalanche happened and killed them all.
This guy just has a bad luck charm.
Right. And, well, yeah. And they say like Crowley put a curse on them and the avalanche came. And Crowley said, he's like, I don't care that they died because I told them to stay.
His 11th house has nothing in it, like no asteroids,
no friendships,
no fixed stars.
That's the house
no
of friendship.
Friendship. There's like nothing there.
Wait. Let's look at the ninth house of travel.
Yeah.
Because he was a big explorer.
Yeah. So he had the North Node there in Aries. His moon was there in Pisces. So like that's how he felt comforted, nurtured, was that moon there in Pisces. And he definitely explored spiritually. I mean, with all the black magic that he did. And it sounds to me like from what you're saying and from the little that I've heard, you're way more educated about him. That this is how he basically, learned is through these different spiritual modalities. And it was mainly black magic. It wasn't anything of the light.
No, and that's the thing. The Golden Dawn, the original like spiritual group he joined, they were all about getting in touch with their higher self and talking to angels. Crowley came in, he's like, I want to summon demons. So that's how he burnt a lot of bridges with that group. And that's why he started his own chapter called Thelema Group instead of the Golden Dawn.
Well, his 8th house, I mean, he has Eris there in Pisces, which like nobody on the face of this planet that's alive right now is Eris and Pisces. Everyone is Eris and Aries. It's a very slow
it's a generational thing.
Yeah. Well, like not just generational, like centennial kind of thing. Yeah. So like multi-generational. So I would say like centennial kind of thing. And then his part of fortune is there too. So like, this is what made him feel good. Like exploring sexual transformative things.
Yeah. Well, like when he was in Cambridge University, when he was in college, he fell in love with a guy who was secretly a drag queen. He was a burlesque dancer on the weekends in secret at a tavern. And it seemed like Crowley actually was deeply in love with this person. And this seems to be the only person he's ever like really fallen in love with. Like I don't even think he had this affection towards his ex-wife.
I think that's that Saturn there in the 7th house. That he just had a blockage, like a blockage on his heart. And Aquarius, Aquarius isn't warm and fuzzy. It's very cold, distant, removed planet. And with Saturn being there, which is all about obstacles, and Phallus being there means like he fell into relationships very easily. However, Phallus has a double-edged sword. So like the story of Phallus is that Phallus told Hercules not to like drink this wine from these certain jugs. They were like special wine. Yeah. And then Hercules drank it and then he accidentally killed Chiron. So that's it sounds very similar to these stories that you're telling me about how, like these people led a mutiny against him and then they fell down a mountain. So all these people that were close to him died just in these weird ways.
And that's the thing is, but he would have a lot of fun with people at first. Like when they first met Crowley, it was like an awesome time. But then he would quickly turn against them when he was done using them and move on to the next person.
Well, he has Uranus in his 1st house. So it's just like, that means that his persona was just constantly changing. Yeah. His concept of who he was constantly changing. So that's a difficult placement.
Yeah, he would change a lot from like, oh, I want to be a poet. I want to be an occultist. I want to be a spiritual advisor for aristocrats. One rich guy paid him to give him tarot readings and make him a talisman of protection against the aristocrat's mother who was trying to hex him. She also paid Crowley to just like go on vacations with him. It seemed like just hang out with him.
Yeah. Interesting. It's like, I would love to just be a fly on the wall, like go in a time machine and Observe.
Yeah, you know what I want to be a fly on the wall for? Apparently, Aleister Crowley had a dinner with Aldous Huxley, the author of A Brave New World.
Oh,
What
that
an
one.
interesting dinner that would be.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's
Like
like,
a Mad Hatter Tea Party.
that'd be
What?
so cool. When people ask you like, who would, if anybody in history, who would you have dinner with? There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's rumors too that Crowley introduced Aldous Huxley to like hallucinogens, because Crowley would use hallucinogens in order to really channel and get in touch with the divine.
Well, look at his 12th house there. The 12th house, of undoing there is karma, is Hygeia there. So in Cancer, this is his way of making himself feel better. And also with that Pisces moon too, that's how he channeled. He channeled through spirituality, really just like weird spiritual practices, because
Yeah,
it's ninth house there.
that's the most psychic placement, the moon in
Yeah,
Pisces. So he's very
exactly.
sensitive to like channeling other beings.
Yeah,
Because sometimes he would work with other channelers and sometimes he'd do the channeling himself. So he had the ability, according to him.
right. I'm okay. So I just noticed something in his chart. Besides that, his Saturn is opposing his Uranus, which shows that he has very short-lived relationships, because this is the first house, seventh house opposition. And he's very unstable sense of self, unstable relationships. But look at Algol right here. Algol, which is, the head of Satan, which is all about these just unbridled desires on Pluto. So much destruction here in his career. And his career was all about, doing these black magic rituals. So Algol on Pluto, especially opposing Lilith. Oh my gosh, it's just so much intense sexual energy and so much intense need to dominate. So did he ever was okay, did he ever force himself on people, or was it just all consensual from what we know? Because when I look at this chart, this is a chart of a rapist.
I mean, I didn't see any accounts of that, but he just had sex with so many different people. And, back then, I think word didn't spread as quickly. So maybe something like that happened. I wouldn't be shocked.
I feel that
Uh,
that's the message that's being sent to me right now, that there are some weird, it was almost like consensual, but not consensual activities.
well, yeah. So he was just a typical psychopath. He was really
Yeah.
good at convincing people. Oh, this reminds me. When he had that Abbey in Thelema where his sex cult was, there was a bunch of people living there, and some of them had their kids there and stuff. And there's rumors that the kids would sometimes see these sex magic rituals.
Sure, I'm sure.
So not only that, but he would force his members to have gay sex with each other, and some of them left because of it. And I think
Yeah.
some of them simply just endured it. So that is a form of rape. If you're
Yeah,
yep, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's violation. It's definitely violating. Okay, so there's a question just came to my mind about that. How did he recruit all these people? There wasn't an internet back then, or the phone where it's I'm gonna join this sex cult in Italy. Let's hop on a plane. There was no plane. I guess there was only trains.
Right. Well, look,
How did this all work?
he had money and he was a charming person. He knew how to network. He networked so well. He actually was a spy for the British government during World War I.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And there's rumors he was a double agent because he would act like he was on the side of Germany and Ireland. But then some people believe that he actually then became on that side for real. But he started as a double agent. It's a very strange story because it's secretive. We can't know for sure.
Like a modern day Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I think that he was not a very good spy from what I've heard, but he still was a spy. He actually, in order to get into the Golden Dawn, he wore a disguise because he didn't want his reputation ruined for being associated with wizards at that early in his life. He was still concerned about what his mom would say. So they saw through his fake mustache he wore, and he had a fake Russian accent. And they're like, dude, you're full of it. Who are you for real? And he had to come clean. So it was kind of awkward when he first joined the Golden Dawn because he joined under false pretenses.
Wow.
And he introduced himself as the Count of something.
Oh, of course, Count Dracula,
Count
Chocula. right. So I just was looking in his sixth house here. So he had his Mars in Capricorn and his Eros in Capricorn in a conjunction here within 1 degree, which it was also squaring his natal Neptune there. So Mars square Neptune, that's where a lot of like sexual kind of issues come from, or anger type of issues come from, because it's like his motivation was not really in alignment with his highest good or his highest self. It seems like he did have a higher self, but he was more concerned about like dabbling in the dark and that kind of thing, because it brought him a lot of fame. So Mars in Capricorn is highly sexual. It's, exalted in Capricorn, because Capricorns, they see the long game. And that's this being in the sixth house, like this was just how he kind of viewed his daily life, is just how can he be a strategic person with sex and business, and how could he tie those two things together, especially with Eros being there, like his whole life every day was sex.
His claim to fame was sex magic. And I told you before this, he every single day would have a different prostitute. So he is like Jeffrey Epstein, because Epstein needed like a new girl every single day.
I got to do something. We have to do a draconic chart with him and Jeffrey Epstein.
Ooh, we should.
I feel like he is Jeffrey Epstein, like
incarnate. Huh.
Seriously.
Have you heard? Okay, have you seen the conspiracy that the George Bush family is related to Crowley?
No, but I believe it. I mean,
because like, listen, put up a side-by-side picture of Crowley and George Bush's mom, and they have the same facial structure. Also, her father is an unknown person, and there's records showing that Crowley was in the same town as her at the same time.
Barbara Bush.
Yeah, when she had George Bush. Or got pregnant with one of the Bushes. I forget.
Anything's possible, Brett.
Right.
It's possible.
Right. Who knows?
So I'm going to stop share for a second so I can pull this up. I felt like, didn't Jeffrey Epstein have a Pisces moon?
I don't remember that. I don't think so. Or maybe I'm wrong.
I'm going to pull up Jeffrey Epstein's chart real quick.
Yeah.
Nobody else is watching this right now. They're missing out.
Oh, they are. We'll watch the replay.
That's right.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say too. Aleister Crowley influenced Jack Parsons and L. Ron Hubbard. Like L. Ron Hubbard got really into black magic because of Crowley, and he did like similar rituals that Crowley came up with, like manifesting the Scarlet Woman.
Wow. Okay, so oh wow, yeah, he did have a Pisces. No, wait, no, he had an Aries moon. Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
Moon in Aries.
Yeah, Epstein didn't strike me as a very psychic individual, so I'd be surprised if he had a Pisces moon.
No, I'm just seeing if there's any other similarities here. I really don't see too many, but I'm just gonna like do a draconic chart for Jeffrey Epstein to see if it looks similar to Aleister Crowley.
Yeah, and I find it interesting, like how much Crowley's influenced music. Like Led Zeppelin 3 on their album, they have "Do As Thou Wilt" on the album. Aleister Crowley is on the cover of the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Band from the Beatles, because John Lennon is a huge fan of him. Well, John Lennon, why? Because the hippie movement loved Crowley's like free spirit kind of thing. "Do As Thou Wilt," like almost you could argue started the hippie movement in a different way.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay. So like, was he a musician? Because a lot of Pisces moons are really good at being musicians.
No. I mean, he lived like a rock star, but he wasn't a musician. Crowley.
Sure. Yeah, because Pisces moon, they're really good at music.
Yeah.
I mean, you're Pisces moon.
Well, he was more of a poet himself. Crowley wrote a lot of poetry.
Okay, I'm pulling this up.
And of course, Ozzy Osbourne was a fan of Crowley with his one song dedicated to him.
Ozzy Osbourne's significantly calmed down. Significantly.
Old age will do that to you.
Yeah. I like Sharon. I think she's pretty cool. Okay, so
sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was like, you watched the Osbournes then?
Yes, I did. I did. I'm from that generation. Okay, so this is Jeffrey Epstein's draconic chart, which means like who he's really supposed to be as a soul, like what was his soul chart, his soul imprint. Lilith was still in his 8th house. seeing if there's anything here that looks like Crowley. I'm not seeing anything. I'm just like, give it a whirl and see if anything comes up.
I think at the end of the day, they were both psychopaths, and that's why you're seeing similarities with them. I think it was more like a mental thing than it was something in the stars in a way.
Yeah. Yeah, they both had strong Liliths, though. Jeffrey Epstein's Lilith was with Pluto, and Aleister Crowley's Lilith was opposing his Pluto.
Yeah.
So there's that Lilith Pluto connection. Because most people's Liliths like have no aspects with Pluto. Zero. Like mine doesn't.
Yeah.
No. I'm trying to think. No, does mine? I don't think so. No. Does yours?
I don't think so either. No.
Yeah. Brett and I are regular people.
Yeah, right. It's normals.
We're normies. Yeah. I guess kind of. I mean, we're astrology and we look at
definitely not normies.
Yeah.
I found it fun, like interesting the books that Crowley would read. Like he read the Grimoire Gotha, like the Lesser Key of Solomon, and that's what he used to try to like talk to Egyptian gods. If you just look at his like literary collection, you'll find some good stuff.
I'm gonna look at his Mercury real quick, see where it's in relating to his moon.
I think he had a Mercury conjunction.
I did see that.
With Jupiter.
Well, yeah.
About that. Doesn't that make you like really sociable, gregarious?
Yes. And it was in his 4th house. So this is still the Draconic. Why is it doing that? Yes, it does. And especially in his 4th house, it means that he learned these skills, how to be really charming at home.
Yeah.
So his family did approve.
Yeah. And his mom was kind of a character. Like she's the one who called him the Beast. That's how he got his nickname from his mom, because he was just such a troublemaker. And actually, what's funny though is he was actually like a really good, obedient kid, and then he got sent to live with his uncle for a while. And his uncle was like, "Hey, your parents are too stiff. You got to have some fun."
We don't know what happened there.
Yeah, like I'm gonna pay a prostitute to take your virginity away.
How old was he when this happened?
Well, I forget how old he was, but it was like right after his dad died, and then he lived with his uncle, who's like the cool uncle. And then Crowley came back to live with his mom. And his mom was blown away. Like, you used to be such a sweet, innocent boy, and now you're the Beast. You're a totally different person from the death of his dad and being exposed to his uncle.
Something went wrong with that uncle. He had a funny uncle.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I think he saw some stuff go down and.
Yeah. I mean, that's not normal for your uncle to be like, "Oh, I'm going to pay this prostitute to have sex with my teenage nephew."
No, it's not like he was like 25 years old and needed an assist or something like that. It was just.
Yep.
Messed up. Okay, so his Mercury here, yes, it's with an orb, it's 6-degree orb but Mercury and Scorpio, very cunning, very deep thinker, and he's definitely very smart, very, very clever. The Mercury is making a square with his Uranus in his 1st house. So his thinking wasn't always stable. This man was not of sound mind. And also Mercury square Uranus, especially the 4th house, 1st house, he didn't always represent himself accurately.
Yeah, like I said, the disguise he wore to join the Golden Dawn, he would always be pretending to be like bigger than he was.
Yeah. And that's what that Jupiter and Mercury too. And the Jupiter was also squaring Uranus. I mean, it's not a tight orb, but squaring it enough where he definitely had an overinflated ego, overinflated sense of himself.
Yeah. He thought that he was going to be the greatest literary genius of our time. And I told you he was in the Golden Dawn with William Yeats, who was a really good poet.
Yeah.
And Crowley said, "I'm a better poet than you," and everyone knows it. And no one agreed with Crowley because Crowley's poetry sucked. Like, it's known for being really bad. And he burned that bridge.
Well, it's because he was full of himself. He really had an overinflated ego, to say the least. So, and he probably slept with his wife.
Yeah.
Was he a good looking man? Like,
he was kind of good looking back in the day. Like, I saw a picture of him with like a pipe in his mouth and like frizzled hair.
Oh, yeah,
but like he aged really quick. I don't know about him. He's actually a good looking dude.
I'm gonna look him up right now.
Do it.
take a look. Was this guy good looking? I don't know. I know I've seen his picture, but it's not like I'm just like
It's like, and
gazing
it's
at
like he had a lot of sexual partners, but I feel like he paid for a lot of them too.
the old guy. When he was old, he really looked scary.
Yeah, old Crowley is horrifying. He was addicted to heroin at that point at the end of
He
his
looks
life.
horrifying.
Yeah, so at the end of his life, he was penniless. He went through all his money, but he was still kind of like famous, but people would just kind of like make fun of him. And then this young girl approached him, like penniless heroin addict, and she's like, I've read all your material. I'm a big fan. I want you to put a baby in me. And he just said, okay, sure. And they had a son together. And somehow at like the age of 60 something, he was able to impregnate her. And that was the end of his life. And that's when he kind of turned himself around. She like got him clean. She got him to become a father. And he actually like loved his son at the end of his life.
He softened.
Yeah.
He had less testosterone and
Yep.
yeah. Okay. So when he was old, he was extremely scary looking. Looks like Lurch from Addams Family.
Yeah.
Yeah. But younger, I mean, he wasn't bad. He was okay. I mean, yeah, I guess he could charm someone. Sure.
Yeah.
And he had money. So why not? That's probably what I was.
Right. Like he was a rich Cambridge kid.
That gets a lot of women and men.
Yeah. And he was smart too. Like he was like really good at chess. He would win chess tournaments.
Yeah, it's impressive. So I wonder if he was alive today, did he freeze himself like cryogenics? Was that even around back? Or did he burn himself up in some ritual?
You know what? Yes, he did. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Yeah, I just wonder if he's like in cryogenics, waiting to be unthawed. If he was alive today, like what would he be doing right now? I wonder what kind of madness.
He would just be a regular Hollywood type, just a hedonistic Hollywood dude. He wouldn't even like stick out compared to the people that are in that line of work today.
Really?
That's what I think. Because it's like that culture has become so degraded that Crowley's like nothing special.
That's true. You have a good point. Well, this was fun. We'll have to look at L. Ron Hubbard and then Jack Parsons guy next time.
Yeah, we need to.
Yeah, L. Ron Hubbard is just fascinating to me. He is just like, you're talking about bad writing. His writing was god awful. And people are still in Scientology, really smart people and who are very successful, extremely.
My theory is they just kind of look at it as like a social club. There's no way they take it that seriously. Because, so a conspiracy theory I've heard is that you have to join a certain group if you're in Hollywood. And Scientology is kind of like a more tame group to join than other satanic groups. So maybe some people join it to like avoid another group that they'd be forced to join.
It's a more tame form of Satan.
Yeah, right. But it's still bad.
We don't do sacrifices here. We just make you lick the bathroom floor to clean it instead if you don't listen to us. But we're not gonna do black magic on you, so it's okay.
Just uncomfortable hazing. That's it.
Yeah, that's right. It's like being a frat. It's okay.
Yeah, it is.
That's a frat with John Travolta. It's okay.
Yeah, and Beck is in it too. Can't be that
Beck
bad.
is a Scientologist.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
No way.
Really?
Wow, I learn something new every day. Elizabeth Moss from Mad Men, she's in it. She's been in it since she was and Julia Lewis is in it. And the guy from the 70s show, he was in it. And I think he went to jail for rape within the Church of Scientology.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's wonderful. Kirstie Alley's also in it.
Wow, all the members. Just join up already.
No, I had a phase where I was like really into like Scientology and what was going on because of that documentary on HBO, Going Clear, and also the Leah Remini book that she wrote. I thought it was just fascinating because like how we're in the world that we are in, especially the pre-COVID world, we had the choice to do anything we wanted, be anything we wanted to be, to just like put yourself in this group that's just with the Dianetics where they know every single thing about you and you commit all your time to it. It's just like so fascinating to me how
that's what led me to Crowley too, because he's a cult leader. Like cults are fascinating. And Crowley was an astrologer himself, actually, and he would do tarot readings for people. Yeah, of course. And Charles Manson, he was into astrology too.
Oh yeah, they all use it to their advantage. Like that's one thing people have to realize, that not all people who seem like they work with the white light aren't necessarily good. You have to be very discerning who you go to, because Hitler had an astrologer, but he didn't know Pluto, Neptune, or Uranus. If he did, then Hitler would have never even tried to do what he did. He would have
he had a lot of questionable decisions. He needed a better astrologer.
Yeah. He needed someone a little more sophisticated, but thank God he didn't make that decision. But
we got to do Hitler's chart.
Oh my God, Hitler, that is just chock full of evil. We'll do that someday.
Have to, yes.
His algol is right on his sun. Oh,
sounds ominous.
Oh yes, 27 degrees, I believe, algol, right in his sun.
Oh, another one we have to do is John Dee. Have you heard of him, the occultist? He influenced Crowley, and he was Elizabeth the first astrologer.
Yeah, but I've only heard positive things about him.
No, he was actually a good guy.
And did he get excommunicated after Elizabeth passed away?
Yes, so he accurately predicted one of the deaths of the royal family, and then he was sent to jail. But then so he predicted it, was sent to jail, and then when he was right, Elizabeth the First released him. She's like, "Oh, you're right. My sister died on this date."
Yeah,
that was blasphemous. So,
yeah. The thing is, some people who are evil, they don't have good intentions. They will learn astrology and tarot and all of it, so they can purposely hurt people. Now, that can only go as far as the intended victim wants to. So I could see, the moon's in Pisces right now. It's not. I'm just giving an example. So I know Brett's going to be extra sensitive because his moon's in Pisces. Well, I'm going to choose the day where his moon is exactly conjunction moon, his natal moon. Let's say you're 7 degrees Pisces moon. I don't know. I haven't memorized your degrees. I haven't gone that far. But
come on.
I'm going to choose that day to just piss Brett off, because I know that he's going to be extra sensitive. People will do stuff like that. It's been done to me before. I'm like, whoa, you are actually a very, very evil person.
Yeah, in ancient China, they say never give away your birth time, because astrologers will use that against you.
Yeah, they can. Yeah. Or if they're a good person, they'll be like, oh, I'll wait a few days until the moon is in Aries so I can approach Brett.
I've told you too much.
It's okay.
My chart from your database.
Don't worry. All right, Brett, this was fun as always. And we'll have to do it again soon. Maybe next weekend. I'm going to be super busy. Hopefully, I'm planning on getting away next week. But maybe I'll have some time next weekend and we can look at L. Ron Hubbard's chart with Parsons. That'll be a ton of fun.
Nice. Yeah. And get a vacation in too. You going anywhere fun?
It's just it's a business trip, but yes, hopefully it'll be fun too. I'm going to California, knock on whatever material this is. It's just gonna be quick in and out, 48 hours, but I'll be back probably again, hopefully for a little longer, but it'll be great. Awesome. Yeah, hopefully it'll be better than the other trips.
Yeah, I know. You had some rough couple trips, haven't you?
I know, the hotel canceled. And then the other one, what happened? Oh, the plane, there was trouble. I got home at 3:00 in the morning.
And you're so funny because you'll look at the chart during your troubles. You'd be like, oh, it's because this retrograde. Damn it. I should have looked at this before.
I know it was, the first one I went to see you and Tiffany and go see the Van Gogh, which we never got to see because of that issue. It was on my 9th house, which is of travel. That's where Mercury was retrograding. But the other one, that was not my fault. It was just I think it was on my husband's chart, not my chart. And I was traveling with him. This time I'm traveling by myself.
Smart.
We'll see what happens.
Well, you saw the articles about 5G landing planes. So
I know.
They've worked that out.
Well, I saw that even before it happened, which is pre.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So I think it's okay now. I mean, if there would have been a problem, it would have already happened, but I will tell people, anyone who's still listening to this, that I wouldn't go overseas right now. And it's just because think about if you got stuck somewhere, could you rent a car and drive back, or like, where are you? Especially with all the restrictions, all the quarantines and whatnot. It's like, I'd rather be in my home country, you know?
Yeah, same. The
Yeah.
furthest I'll go at this point is Mexico and like the Dominican Republic.
Yeah. 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 I agree with you. Yeah. Someone in one of the groups I belong to on Instagram, she's like, let's go to Jamaica for a retreat. I'm like, I don't know if I want to go to Jamaica for a retreat right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. How about Florida? How about New Mexico? How about, I don't know, Ohio, somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm okay with anywhere. Basically, it's, not the usual thing for me to say, because my South Node is in Sag, and I've traveled all over. I've been on 16-hour plane rides, and I'm totally okay with it. But just how things are right now, I would be extremely cautious.
Yeah, same. I'm not traveling anytime soon.
Yeah. Well, just stick around and do your thing, chop down some trees, get on some roofs.
Right. I told you I'm saving money. I just bought a Jeep yesterday, and then I'm going to buy a giant cherry picker coming up soon. So I'm spending money on that instead of going on vacation.
You're investing in yourself is what you're doing. That's what I'm doing too. This year, that North Node's in Taurus, like, we're investing in ourselves because we're building up our stability for the future. Because next year already, well, like 18 months from now, gosh, crazy. The North Node will be in Aries. So when that North Node is in Aries, it is time to, take charge. Time to like be at the top of our games. So building up this stability right now is going to help us all really take charge of our lives. So
that's cool, because that's what I've been led towards right now, is building it up for next year, be like really good.
It's going to be awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, like, already so far in the future to even like think about that. But there's some other cool things that will happen around that time. Pluto will head into Aquarius towards that, the end of North Node in Aries, and just really cool stuff.
That is cool. It's like the age of Aquarius everyone's talking about, and Pluto is that long generational planet, so that's entering Aquarius, so that's significant.
Yeah, it is. It is. And when Uranus is out of Taurus in a few years, that'll be fantastic.
And Pluto's transformative, and it's going into Aquarius. That's big.
Yeah. Then Uranus will be in Gemini, and we'll all communicate through telepathy or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that checks out. Yeah.
Why not? All right, Brett, you have a great night, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay, bye.
Good night.
Good night.